Vote shaming is stifling important conversations that actually lead to impactful shifts in behavior. So I'm going to touch your hand when I say this. We go alone into that voting booth. We vote anonymously in America. And so what that means, no matter how well-intentioned, is that when we run up on anybody who feels a margin, just a margin of trepidation around voting Harris, or when we vitriolically shame folks that are choosing to abstain from voting, we are misapplying and misusing shame and norming to the opposite effect that we're intending. Now, shame is an incredible motivator. Part of the reason we live in a world where certain things are considered inappropriate or taboo to say is because of the way that shame was implemented alongside social norms. This created a sense of alienation, disbelonging, etc. for folks that would engage in certain behaviors, use certain words, etc. in public. Now, did this fundamentally alter their belief systems or their felt sense that they have the right to use these words? No. I use this example because I think we need to understand the political tactics we're employing and to what end. So when we get on here and shame folks, instead of having conversations, understanding the perspective better from a place of good faith, provided it's not a bigoted, imperialistic, supremacist perspective, right? I'm not looking to validate violent, bad faith actors. When we get on this app and shame folks for how they're voting or if they're going to vote, instead of opening up a dialogue with them, what we ultimately do is get people to lie and to hide and to conceal what they're actually going to be doing. It's a bit like training a dog with a stick. We're teaching people effectively to avoid the social backlash associated with expressing those ideas. And so when we're talking about people we mostly agree with, right, or people that we expected to be aligned with on a particular candidate or on a particular policy or on a particular politic in general, but there's some just marginal degree of difference or some unexpected sort of way they intend to treat this election or treat their, political ideologies in general, we're actually pushing them further into their own belief systems, right? This is why rhetoric itself is actually important, regardless of how it's been sort of hijacked over the last couple of years. And we're also not allowing ourselves space to understand people that are very much like us, very near to us politically, and what they're thinking, how they're thinking, and what they're ultimately going to do. We're also forgetting that either or thinking is not discernment, and we're shutting people out of conversations where nuance is, and their particular nuance, is a very integral and important part of it if we actually care about making meaningful change. Let me give you an example. So in the comment section of my mutual, Jean, someone had commented, despite how good faith Jean has been consistently around this election, Jean had made a comment about how Harris had handled protesters and hecklers really poorly, given the state of protest and dissent in America and a myriad of other factors, right? Whether you're considering the undecided voters and where they sit politically, etc. And the person in the comment section, many in fact, jumped up into the anyone but Trump ideology. They jumped right up into there and said something to the effect of, I don't think it's the right time to be critiquing a black woman when there's a Cheeto running for government that's much more threatening, right? And so what this effectively does is, first of all, undermines the concept of having a viable candidate in the first place, which we were also rah-rah about, right? We have a real candidate, which means for all intents and purposes, we should be able to treat them to a standard that includes critically engaging with them in their policy. Also, Harris still, I think as of now, doesn't have a platform on their website or her website, but that's beside the fact. We're closing down dialogue, or frankly alienating folks from dialogue with bad logic, bad reasoning that just happens to support the right candidate. I'm going to say that again. We can alienate people from doing what we want them to do by using bad ideology, bad faith tactics, and frankly, bankrupt politics to support the good option. And to some extent, we're already seeing that happen, right? There's folks that aren't sold on Harris for a myriad of policy reasons, for things related to her political career. And there's people that won't be voting for Harris out of racism or out of misogyny. Same potential outcome, fundamentally different reasons. And so when we're talking about how we organize people around an idea, people that are near and dear to us, not people that are in total opposition to us, not bad faith actors, not people with harmful ideologies, people that are near to us. This is where the how and the why from both perspectives is deeply meaningful. Because here's the thing about how ideas work and how we come to change our mind. We as human beings don't listen to other people's ideas. We don't accept influence unless there are a couple factors at play. The first one is, do I feel understood? I, as a person, most people in the world with human primate brains work this way. It is very difficult to change my mind if I don't feel like you understand the state of my mind in the first place, number one. Number two, some modicum of respect. I am not apt to accept influence from somebody I believe doesn't like me and thinks that I'm stupid. And the third thing, right, is a plea to values. If what I'm about to be influenced by, if the ideology that I'm going to move into doesn't effectively reflect my values, then I'm very, very unlikely to adopt it. And so when you take people that come from leftist backgrounds, for example, or that come from activism, organizing backgrounds, black folks, disabled folks, and you're trying to have a conversation with them about what you want them to think or how you want them to shift their mind politically, but one of the cost of entries for that is to stop critiquing Kamala for right now, to not think critically about it right now, to wait for what matters to them, to advocate for it later. You're gonna lose those people, because those people have already been on the poop end of the stick of having to wait until it was their turn to matter at great cost, like at the cost of like human life, right? I don't think as people we're very good at understanding rhetoric and how ideas move, flow, and exchange. I don't think we're very good at understanding the concept, frankly, of seduction when it comes to influencing other people to change what they think, believe, or what they're gonna do. And so if what you want is a For You page that's full of people that are pretending they're gonna vote a certain way or vote at all, then great. This is an incredible strategy. You've nailed it, no notes. But if you wanna be able to maybe influence others and also are open to being influenced yourself, right? Like these ideologies are deeply layered and complex, and the points of view and perspectives on them are intersectional, as we all are. But if you're truly looking to be influenceable, to be permeable to ideas and ideologies and ways that this country could run, that this world could run, and influence others, you're gonna need to take a better faith approach. It's not negotiable. We have human brains that are designed to detect threat and protect from it. Our brains love to automate. They like to make things simple. And so if you dress up like a threat and speak like a threat and move through the world and occupy your ideological position as a threat, you will be received as such. And people will be able to tell. People can tell the difference between whether you're engaging with them from a genuine place of curiosity and a desire to understand their perspective and motivations and values, or if you're just trying to get something out of them. There's certain things when it comes to particularly people and influence where you have to do it right, or it simply won't work. And there's no shortcut.